Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahavidiyam Karvavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We continue reading the chapter on the mind. We are on page 19. Question. The word to is now. Which word? The world around us. It is your word you have in mind, not mine. What do you know of me when even my talk with you is in your word only? You have no reason to believe that my word is identical with yours. My word is real, true, as it is perceived, while yours appears and disappears according to the state of your mind. Your word is something alien, and you are afraid of it. My word is myself. I am at home. Stop me if you have any doubt, questions. If
this wasn't
yes.
clear, Acharyaji. Your world,
Yes.
my world.
Yes. It's simple. When you look at, for example, when you look at the park or a garden and you see a plant and you find particular flower or a pot attractive and beautiful, but that may not be the same for somebody else. Somebody else prefer to like other pot, another flower or other plant. Not necessary that it is the same plant that you like, that somebody else will like the same. It's just because you have your likes and dislikes, you have your own world, which is created in the mind or created by mind. And that's very personal. That's very private. That's something that is not shared. It's not necessarily the common word for everybody. But when Maharaj says my word, he refers to the word which is of no name, shape, form, the absolute reality, the word which is nothing but energy, nothing but consciousness, nothing but that Brahman. He talks about that word and he says, that is what I am. That is what it is. So in my word is different than your word. For example, the talk that we have right now, that talk is something that you have it in your mind because it is, you are listening or attending and perceiving the subject. Not necessary it is the same talk that attracts or that invites other listeners, just because it is of not a common interest, it is not a common word. Yeah. What I speak is just the flow of words that I read from the book. What I read from the book is not my words, is not my thoughts. But when I talk on it, it could be that something that I have never thought about, but it just happens, it just flows out of my mouth, which is the word of reality. So Maharaj says that what we perceive, what our sense organs can perceive, is the personal word, the word created by our mind, and it is limited, is changing, is not eternal, it's not omnipresent. Whereas the word that Maharaj is referring to is the word which is of the existence of consciousness, existence of the bliss. That's the difference. As we read further, we probably get more clearance, more clarification. Should we continue?
Yes, Acharya, thank you.
If you are the word, how can you be the conscious of it? Now, this is a very interesting question. Maharaj says, I am the word. I am at home. Question, if you are the word, how can you be conscious of it? Is not the subject of consciousness different from its object? Great question. If I am consciousness, how can I be aware of that consciousness? Because consciousness is the subject, and you can be aware of only something which is object. So his question is, if you are the word, then how can you be aware of it? Maharaj, consciousness and the word appear and disappear, not the subject of consciousness, appears and disappears according to the state of your mind. Look, I will read it again. Question, if you are the word, how can you be conscious of it? Is not the subject of consciousness different from its object? Consciousness and the word appear and disappear together. Hence, they are two aspects of the same state. You see, try to think about this answer, contemplate. You might refer it to what we have read in Tattvabodha. Let's read again. Consciousness and the word appear and disappear together. Hence, they are two aspects of the same state. Which state? State of awareness. In the awareness, you realize you are the consciousness. You realize you are Brahman or Atman. And when you are conscious about, you are aware of your consciousness, in the same awareness, you see the physical world around you, which is only an appearance. That state, when the world around us and the consciousness are aspect of the same thing, is called Jivatma. That is Jivatma. The world is illusion or its appearance as a Jiva, and Atma is permanent, it's eternal. The combination of Jiva and Atma equal to what Maharaj refers here as the word and consciousness are two aspects of the same thing. What is the same thing? Awareness. So there is, Maharaj always, all his life, he has spoke about these two things as a separate, consciousness and awareness. And his emphasis is on awareness. Awareness of you have to be aware of your awareness. And that is what he emphasized upon. Consciousness is eternal, omnipresent. But awareness is something which is attached to the manifestation, Jiva. As a Jiva, we have to be aware of being conscious. Being consciousness is the awareness that he's talking about, which is nothing but two aspects of the same thing. Question, in sleep, I am not, and the word continues. Again, true question, true point. How do you know? On waking up, I come to know. My memory tells me. Maharaj, memory is in the mind. The mind continues in the sleep. Question. It is partly in abeyance, Maharaj. But its word picture is not affected. As long as the mind is there, your body and your word are there. Your word is mind-made, subjective, enclosed within the mind, fragmentary, temporary, personal, hanging on the thread of memory. You see, this is so clear. What is our mind? We remember, try to reflect about what we have read earlier in different subjects. When we look at anything and our sense organs, let's say our eyes, looks at certain thing, which is an object, what is the process? Your eyes, which are nothing but tools, looks at it. For example, in front of me, I have the camera or my screen. My eyes looking at the screen. In reality, my eyes looking at not screen. It is a reflection of a light. It is the light that falls upon my iPad, and it is reflected into my eyes. Now, eyes are simply an instrument. It passes on the image upside down through my internal organs or my veins to a part of my mind, which immediately refers it instantly to my memory bank, to my memory. And the memory brings about the answer or the disclosure that I'm looking at the iPad. It is iPad. Then comes in picture my ego. And my ego says, I know it is the iPad. And then I make a statement, I am looking at the iPad. All this is my word, is my personal. Yeah. In reality, what it is, the light, the existence. It is this light that reflects on my eyes, and my mind refers to memory. Memory tells me that it is iPad because my mind conditioning, because of my memory. And my ego comes to play and say, I know it is an iPad. When I say I know it, that I-ness is the ego, is the lower self, which claims to know it. In reality, it is only an appearance of iPad. And that's what this subject is, that all that our sense organ can perceive is only an appearance. In reality, it may not be there.
So, Acharya, all memory is egocentric?
All memory, when you claim that you know it, that's ego. But if you say, if you feel or say that I remember and I believe, that I, if you are referring to that I with consciousness, with awareness of this vyavarik, this, let's say, transactional word, I refer this object as my iPad. Though back of my mind, subconscious mind, my awareness tells me that it's only appearance of iPad. It's only appearance of Kapilji or Aditi or Pramodji. In reality, it is the same consciousness, same energy that is in all of us. But we don't see it. We are limited. We do not have that ability to see it because no eye can see it. It has no shape, no form. Yeah, it's just an energy. Example, very common example in Upanishad is of the electricity. You turn on the switch and your light lights up. You only see the light of a bulb or a tube or a instrument, but the electricity that flows, we do not see it. Yeah, that's the energy that flows. So it is this energy that we exist everywhere. It's not just limited within me, but it is without me. In me, around me, and everywhere. Same energy. It's just because of our ego, our mind conditioning, and our inability to perceive that all what we see, all that our sense organ can perceive is only appearance. It is there. There is no denying. It is there. But it is there for a time being. And whatever is time being is not real. What is real? Something that is permanent all the time, without any change. And that is only energy. The bottom line of all this that we are referring to or reading in our Advaita Vedanta or Upanishads comes to the same. That everything that exists is nothing but that existence, that energy, that Brahman, that Atma, that God. Different names are used in different literature, but the fact is that it is that. So Maharaj refers it as that because he believes that you cannot define it. You cannot define that it is this or that. It is something beyond our description. So word cannot describe. Just to use the word, he calls it that. It can be this as well. Remember, this subject is not for all. I don't want to take a name, but somebody sent me a message from our guru yesterday that I'm not inclined to follow the Saturday class because it is beyond me, beyond my, which is all right, which is perfectly fine. It's being honest. And my response to the person was that it's perfectly fine. At right time, right thing happens. It develops. Just wait. It happens to every single person. But at right time. Could be in this lifetime, could be any time later. But there is no escape. There is no escape. One has to know, or one has to realize the absolute truth. And some of us are trying to walk on the path of knowing it. Some of them are not ready to walk or take a step. It's perfectly fine. This is why I said earlier that it's easy for, in the beginning, to follow the understanding of duality. It's easy. And based on that duality, the development of devotion, bhakti, happens. What is that duality? I am limited, and there is something which is unlimited. I am the smaller self, there is something which is higher self. I am individual, and that is something omnipresent. Duality, which is okay. I am Jiva, there is a Paramatma or there is Ishvara, which is many philosophy have existed under that. Even in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says the same. But he leads it from that understanding to non-duality. Yeah, and that is how it should be. There is nothing wrong in believing that there is a God and I worship or I pray, which is perfectly fine. But then comes a stage when one has to pursue the knowledge path or Gyan Marg. And Jnanamag says, who is that God? What is that God? If somebody says there is a God, what is that God? Who is that? So you worship, you do the kirtan, you do the prayers, you do the chanting or whatever towards God, which is perfectly fine and it should be done. But then comes the time when one realizes or asks questions, who is that God? Who has seen it? Who knows it? And then is the beginning of developing that knowledge and dropping ignorance. What is the ignorance? Duality. Ignorance is duality, according to Advaita Vedanta. That I am somebody's lower self, I am individual, and there is some higher power, somebody we call God. Non-duality, Advaita says no. There is no other God. You are the God. And so is everyone else and everything else. Not only the living being, but even innate object has the same conscious particles. I do not know whether I have shared in our group or not, but the greatest scientist lived in Germany. After 30, 40 years of research on the consciousness, he made a statement that now after spending so long, I realized that I'm not doing nothing but reading Upanishad. I'm following the teaching of Upanishad. That you cannot see the reality, that you cannot perceive the reality. So it is the subject that not so easy for everybody, because it's a reading is one thing. We can go on reading it. Every word, every sentence, every question carries so much of meaning to contemplate. And unless we do that, it's just reading of book. Reading a book, not a bad idea, just to introduce the subject. But then every page, every question, one has to think. So I continue. So we were at question, in sleep I am not, and the word continues. Maharaj, how do you know? Question, on waking up I come to know, my memory tells me. Answer, memory is in the mind. The mind continues in the sleep. It is partly in abeyance, but its word picture is not affected. As long as the mind is there, your body and your word are there. Your word is mind-made, subjective, enclosed within the mind, fragmentary, temporary, personal, hanging on the thread of memory. So it's yours. Maharaj, oh no, I live in a world of realities, while yours is of imaginings. Your world is personal, private, unshareable, intimately your own. Nobody can enter it. See as you see, hear as you hear, feel your emotions and think your thoughts. In your world, you are truly alone. Enclosed is your ever-changing dream, which you take of for a life. My word is an open word, common to all, accessible to all. In my word, there is community, insight, love, real quality. The individual is the total, the totality. In the individual, all are one and one is all. That's a statement to underline. All are one and one is all. What is that one? Same consciousness, same energy, same element, same thing that is shared, common to all. Is your word full of things and people as in mine? No, it is full of myself. But do you see and hear as we do? Yes, I appear to hear and see and talk and act, but to me it just happens. As to you, digestion and perspiration happens. The body-mind machine looks after it, but leaves me out of it. Just as you do not need to worry about growing hair, so I need not worry about words and actions. They just happen and leave me unconcerned, for in my word, nothing ever goes wrong. Sometimes, if you are conscious about your own speech, whether you are speaking to your friends or your colleagues or at business meet or whatever occasion, you are supposed to be talking on particular subject or referring to some particular thing. And suddenly, without your being conscious, you start talking something which later on you realize, I have not prepared myself to speak on that. How did that happen? How did those words come in my mouth? A simple statement or simple conversation, even with the friend, sometime you might use certain words or certain phrases or certain references which you have not used earlier, and it just happened. What is that? How did that happen? That's what Maharaj is talking about. That in my word, everything just happens. And whatever happens, happens as it is supposed to, as it is designed, as it is planned. And that is why it is known as a divine plan. All that happens for a purpose. And he says, I'm not aware of it. It happens and let it happen. Just example, just as the growth of our hair is beyond our control. The hair on our head grows by itself, or perspiration happens. And that's biological connection. So Maharaj says, my word, everything is perfectly fine. Everything is peaceful as it should be. Should we continue? Is there any doubt on what Maharaj says? The self stands beyond mind. Question. As a child, fairly often I experience states of complete happiness, verging on ecstasy. Later, that ceased. But since I came to India, they reappeared, particularly after I met you. Yet these states, however wonderful, are not lasting. They come and go, and there is no knowing when they will come back. This happens to us as well. Try every question and answer, refer it to our lives. This, what he said, happens to us. If you are conscious about it, when you visit a particular place, you feel comfortable, you feel like being at home, being very comfortable. Or you meet somebody, even first time, you feel comfortable meeting person. How does that happen? As a child, you are always joyful. You are always in that playful. You are always happy, so to say. But as we grow, that slowly dissolves. And happiness is something that we are looking for. Whereas happiness is what we are, is our nature. We don't have to look for it. It's just because we attach happiness to certain objects or certain gains and receipts and receiving, and so becomes objective, whereas happiness is a subject. Maharaj, how can anything be steady in mind which itself is not steady? So how can you want to be happy all the time when you consider happiness, when you look for happiness outside, or depending on your mind and your mood and your likes and dislikes? Your mood and mind and dislikes itself is not steady, is not permanent. So how can it be happiness be permanent? Question: how can I make my mind steady? How can an unsteady mind make itself steady? Of course, it cannot. It is the nature of the mind to roam about. All can do is to shift the focus on consciousness beyond the mind. You see what the subject of meditation, yoga. How do you make your mind quiet or cool or calm? You cannot. We say thoughtlessness or mindlessness. It is not that. You cannot. The nature of mind is, what is mind? There is nothing called mind actually. Mind is nothing but the bundle of thoughts, a bunch of thoughts. Thoughts is equal to mind. So how can you stop thoughts? It's your nature. The only thing you can do is to be aware of thought. Moment you become aware of thoughts, the traffic of thoughts will reduce. The congestion of thoughts will reduce. And you will notice there is a very subtle gap between two thoughts. And that gap is Turiya, is the state, fourth state known as Turiya or mindlessness. When you have, however, it could be a friction of moment that you have gap between two different thoughts. That gap, if you are aware, if you bring your awareness to that gap between two thoughts, you are touching upon that Turiya state. You are touching upon the mindlessness. That's what Maharaj is talking about. How can I make my mind steady? How can unsteady mind make itself steady? Of course, it cannot. It is the nature of the mind to roam about. All can do is to shift the focus of consciousness beyond the mind. When he says beyond the mind, it means beyond thoughts and emotions and feelings. Question: how is it done? Answer: refuse all thoughts except one, the thought I am. The mind will rebel in the beginning, but with patience and perseverance, it will yield and keep quiet. Once you are quiet, things will begin to happen spontaneously and quite naturally without any interference on your part. So when we do the dharana, for example, we very often try to do dharana of watching breath, yeah, witnessing the thought, witnessing your inhalation, exhalation. What is it? What we are trying to do? We are trying to stop our mind to entertain other thought, but focus on watching the breath. This is nothing but a technique. Similarly, the second technique is to do chanting. We do the Hari Om. Inhalation and exhalation, we synchronize by chanting Hari Om. Once again, it is nothing but a technique. And technique for what? Technique to avoid other thoughts. That your mind is able to entertain only one thought. And that one thought is to chant Hari Om or watching breath. Similarly, Maharaj says, concentrate on I am, which means I is the consciousness, am is the existence. The present moment, the existence is am. I is that supreme being, is that energy, is that consciousness. Call it Brahman, call it God, whatever. And so Maharaj says, try to repeat I am. Initially, your mind will remain, mind will try to think of something else. Do not fight about it. Do not make any judgment. Just simply come back and start chanting I am, or referring yourself to be I am. As you practice, time will come that number of thoughts will start reducing, and there will be gap between two thoughts. You cannot stop thoughts, remember. Thoughts will come, but as you practice this watching breath, chanting Hari Om, or thinking about I am, with this technique, the simple thing what we're doing is training our mind to entertain only one thought of I am, thought of Hari Om, thought of watching breath, and trying to avoid other disturbances and other thoughts. Gradually, it will happen that you don't have to even chant. You don't have to even reaffirm I am. You will enjoy the peace. You will have the so-called blankness. What is that blankness? You would not know that you are sitting on the floor and under you is a mat or under you is a cushion. You would not know it. You would not know your left leg is at bottom or right leg is bottom. Your body will become kind of a numbness. You will lose the consciousness of your body. That's the first stage. And the body exists only when you entertain thoughts and mind. The first indication that you have gained a little gap in thoughts and number of thoughts reduce, first evidence is losing the awareness of your body. That is why the practice of silence, stillness, solitude is practiced. That when you maintain a stillness and when your eyes are closed and you start chanting or watching breath or affirming I am as a technique, it will lead to a point when you don't need to do chanting, when you don't need to do any affirmation. Your mind do not need technique. And then you are in, so to say, dhyana. From dharana to dhyana, this is the process. And if you are continuously in that position, with the grace, you can have experience of samadhi. It could be just for a couple of seconds or minutes, but you will have that experience of samadhi. And that you will realize only when you are out of that state. When you are in the state, you would not know what it is. There is nothing to describe. There is nothing to talk about because you are not there. You are not there. When you are not there, it's like in deep sleep. You are not there. You do not know whether you are sleeping flat on your back or on your stomach or your right side or your left side. You do not know. You have no consciousness of your body. You are not entertaining any thought in deep sleep. And therefore, the world does not exist for you. Although there is a world around, but not your world. You are connected to that frequency, that higher energy. And that is why the science says the deep sleep regenerates you. What is that regeneration? Regeneration happens because in that point of time, you are connected to the source. You are connected to the source of the energy. And that's why you feel fresh in the morning when you wake up after deep sleep. We stop here today and we shall continue on this next time. We started chapter 8. I intentionally going slow. I don't want to read. It's easy to read quickly, question answers, but then we are reading and not contemplating. It's more important to contemplate on each question. How can we make this as our living experience? How can we make this as our, not only when we are sitting in yoga or meditation, but even otherwise? How can we do it? The easiest way is, I have mentioned earlier, is to take a break of 1 minute every 1 hour. Every 1 hour, take a break of just 1 minute. Close your eyes and have a beautiful smile on your face and say, I am pure consciousness. Or just say, I am. Just that's all. Just close your eyes and do the affirmation. I am pure consciousness. Every 1 hour for just 1 minute. And after doing this for whatever, 1 week, 10 days, things will start changing. Not anybody will notice the change, but you will realize yourself. Things will start changing.
Acharya ji,
Yes.
just if I carry some of the work, professional or personal work, it needs some of thought and energy. Okay, and to regulate, suppose in office, certain amount of discipline and other things. So some of the words are aggressive, then some of the motivational. So when I observe all these things for around a week or so, Navratra when it started. So that aggression is not there, and if it is not there, how will you maintain the order in the office and other things?
First of all, it is perfectly fine that in your transactional world, in your office, in your career, in your business, that you have to follow certain disciplines and you have to do and don'ts, follow certain do's and don'ts, which is okay, provided you are conscious about it. That I am doing this or I am practicing this or I am following this only in order to maintain some sort of discipline in the organization. It's okay. But at the same time, realize you are not the doer. You are not the doer. You think that you are bringing discipline. You are trying to make things all right. What if you are on holiday? What if you are not going to work for whatever reason? What happens? That's the world that I'm talking about. It is only in your world that you think that you need a discipline in your office or in your staff or organization because you are there. But if you are not there, you are on holiday, or you have, unfortunately, have a headache, or you have a fever and you cannot go to work. What happened to the discipline? What happened to the organization? What happens? The show continues. So in other words, It is our mind, our ego, which we are not conscious about, that we think I am keeping the discipline. I am trying to organize things in a proper manner. In reality, it is not so. It's only our ego that talks about or thinks about. Whatever is happening is happening. We are only puppets. We are not the doer.
So, Acharya, that means that we should accept whatever is happening as it is.
No, no, no. It does not mean that whatever is happening, you accept it. As long as you are in this world, you are aware of it, that you should have in the family, in the house, in your organization, in your company, things should go on as per prescribed regulations and discipline. As I said, that's your transactional world. Do you have to do it? It's okay. But if you are only that, only thinking that is the reality, that is what it is, then you are still not started spirituality. Moment you have started spirituality, you will continue doing this, but you will be aware that I'm doing only when I am at work, 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, whatever. Or I'm doing certain thing in the family, in this situation that I have to follow certain discipline. In reality, I'm not the doer. I'm just playing my role, performing my role. That's all I'm doing. I'm not the doer. One thing that you practice helps you a lot. Do what you need to do. Do not claim doership. Do not expect a reward or result. Even if the reward and result is coming to you, accept it as if it is an offering from the God. Don't claim it. Get it, happy. Do not get it, you are happy. When you are in that state, everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. It is only that our mind, without our realization, plays the trick. Whether it is the mind of a memory, mind of an ego, mind of expectation, mind of attachment. So it is not that you have to accept whatever is happening in the transactional world. Whatever is your personal world, you have to play your role. But believe, trust, remember, it is your personal world. It is transactional world. It is not absolute reality.
Thank you, Acharya.
Just close your eyes for a moment and try to maintain stillness and just give yourself a couple of minutes. Om. 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 Asato ma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, God, for giving us air to breathe. Thank you, God, for giving us water to drink. Thank you, God, for giving us sun for energy. Thank you, God, for giving us food to eat. Thank you, God, for giving us good health and happiness. Thank you, God, for giving us positivity. Thank you, God, for giving us all that we deserve. Thank you, God, for your love, your protection, your guidance, your blessings. Thank you, God, for the existence. Thank you for giving me a chance to serve you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Acharya ji.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you so much.
Thank